So I want to move back to our presentations, and the first one being the Facilities Planning Committee update. So
this is what we already started talking about earlier during my board report. We sort of gave an update on the work that was done, but for the Facilities Planning Committee that met earlier this week. And this is really just on here as an opportunity for board discussion to set the sort of direction in which the district hopes to go. I think there's really two options, or three options would be. One would be to put the existing project back up. One would be to send the project back to the Facilities Planning Committee and ask them to present a revised version of the project. And the last would be to simply do nothing, and we'll deal with the necessary repairs within our existing operating budget. So I'll really turn the floor over to you guys to decide the direction in which we should go.
Personally, I think it needs to be sent back to the Facilities Committee. They did a lot of work, and they need to look at how the public spoke at the vote, and come forward with a recommendation that will satisfy those individuals who felt, for whatever reason, that perhaps what we were asking was too much in some areas. We need a new roof. We need a new boiler. I was working in the district when the boiler at the elementary school went, and thank God it happened in the summer. There was a moon-sized crater in that parking lot for about 2 weeks while they removed the old boiler out and put the new boiler in. It took a lot of time, a lot of effort. God forbid that thing goes down in the middle of the winter. This is a necessary item. The roof on the high school is a necessary item. The work on that collapsing wall out there and the lack of lights in the middle school property is a necessary item. These are health and safety and maintenance items. So we need to look at what's essential, what's necessary. Also, the nurse's office at the elementary school. Somebody should put a plaque out there on the office door signifying its historic importance as it represents a nurse's office from the 1950s. We need to modernize that. Again, a health and safety issue. Those are 4 items that I feel very personally strong about, and I would like to bring the whole suggestion back to the Facilities Committee. We need these things. This is not frivolous. This is not nonsense. This is maintenance. You have a roof on your house for 20 years. You got to start thinking about replacing it. That roof has been on this thing for 25 years. And God forbid how many slabs of plywood got to be replaced because of the microscopic drips that occur over that time. It's got to be done. These things have to be done. So my strong opinion is bring it back to the facilities and let's see what they have to say about it, Dr. Love. That is my opinion. And I would definitely, after their recommendation, then, because these are necessities, do another vote.
I agree with what, I'm sorry.
Go.
No, I agree with what Sam said, and I think that definitely parts of the project that are necessities that we have to look at, that the facility committee has to review and bring us back some recommendations. But along with that, I also agree with a May vote. If we decide on going forward with this, that it needs to be at that time frame and not wait another year. It needs to be sooner than later.
Yeah. So, first of all, I just want to thank every person, regardless of how they voted, who came out to vote.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for casting your ballot. For those who were not able to be in town that day, who also got an absentee vote, thank you for going above and beyond and making sure that your voice was heard. I think that this is a time for us to sit back and listen to our community. Obviously, there were some concerns. I believe that some of those concerns were from perhaps some misguided information, some thoughts that perhaps people really thought were true. I don't believe that people intentionally want to spread disbelief or things that they don't believe are true. I think that misinformation and misperception are people's realities. And so I think that there is some work we need to do for communication purposes about these projects. I wholeheartedly support every piece of this project, and I'm very saddened that it didn't pass. But it not passing is only going to make us better as a community, and we are going to have to come together to figure out what it is that our community at this point is telling us. I also believe that there is a portion of our community that was not heard in the way they felt about this project for the sheer fact that they just may not have been able to come out and vote that day or secure an absentee ballot. So I agree with putting it back into the hands of the Facilities Committee to review, to ensure that the needs of our children are met. No parent, regardless of how they voted for this bond, wants their child to be in a school where the roof is going to collapse. None of us want our child to be in a parking lot where the wall could fall on either them or a vehicle at any time. We want our children to be safe. We need our children to be safe. That is the number one priority. I am also a firm believer that we have to pay things forward, and that if our children are in this community and they are coming to our schools, I really do believe that our kids should have the very best resources possible. It's one of the reasons why I personally moved my family to Putnam Valley. I believe in what teachers do here. I believe in the way that our schools are run. We have top-notch schools. Our elementary school is in the 3rd percentile of the country. That is no small feat. They are doing amazing work in these buildings, and I'm fortunate to have a child in every building right now, and I talk with my kids every single day about what's going on. I spoke to my daughter yesterday about the water. I spoke to my son about what he did at recess. I spoke to my little one, even my little one, about the fact that she learned about polar bears the other day. And so they come and they tell me the truth, regardless of whether or not I want to hear it. They tell me the truth, and so at the end of the day, this is about our kids. And at the end of the day, a community must stand together behind the vision for the community. And so one of the things that I did was I asked people to share with me what went wrong here. Because truly, I still don't understand. I think I'm starting to get a better understanding of it, and I want to share some of those highlights because I said that I was going to. I think there's a very high level of frustration for the people who put the work in to be able to plan what this project was going to look like in the best interest of our children. And that level of frustration is there because we just don't understand why people can't get behind the vision of having great schools in our district with facilities that are really providing our kids with amazing opportunities. So I want to share some of the insights from the community that I was given. I do believe that some of those insights are incorrect information that they perhaps heard. And so I'd like that clarified if possible for our community. And I also want to share some of the innovative ideas that they had as far as communication. I do believe that a big part of the reason why this particular bond did not pass was just a result of the way in which it was communicated or the way in which people received the communication or not. We do know that a big piece of this was the mailing. We understand that some people did not get that mailing, and for whatever reason that happened. We've got to do better with that, and most people that I spoke with agree that even for people who are not on social media, that mailing is really important, and making sure that graphics in the mailing are there so that it's quick information for people to understand, and that for elderly people that may have a vision problem, that there be a large font attached to it, that it not be the tiny little font. That was a big piece of things. I know that one of the things that we mentioned was yard signs, making sure that that we're just getting people in the know in different ways about the vote. I certainly spoke to people that have children in school that didn't necessarily know that the vote was happening because people are busy and they have jobs and they have to go in and out of Putnam Valley early and come home late sometimes. And I get it. I'm a working mom of 3. I get it. At the same time, I would implore people who want to be informed by the district to join our mailing list, please. If you don't want to miss a beat about what's happening here, please join the mailing list. There's a button on the website that you can use to do that. Certainly, if you have trouble doing that, you can call district office and they will help you. And there's a couple of other things that I could share. I don't want to take all the time tonight, and I will be sharing those pieces with Dr. Luft and the rest of the board. But there is a notion out there that I want to clarify, that people were chosen for the facilities committee. That is not true. And Dr. Luft, if I say anything that's incorrect, please correct me. An email was sent to our community, to those who are on the email list serve that we use. If you've signed up to be on that email, you got that email, whether or not you're a parent in the community, to sign up for the facilities committee if you wanted to. I don't believe that anyone was rejected from the committee for any reason. All who wanted to come were welcome, and no one was cherry-picked, and there is no club. There is notion of this language of there being a club where only certain people are allowed to be on these committees. That is absolutely the furthest thing from the truth, and I just want to make sure that that piece is out there, because I'm imploring our community to please, if you had issues with this bond, please join the facilities committee so that we can hear your voice, so that you can be a part of it. If you have a vantage point that the committee has not yet heard, we want to hear it so it can be addressed. Thank you so very much.
I should have gone before Crystal.
Sorry.
She touched on so many things that I also wanted to talk about. But I think the most important thing is that the facilities meeting team, we really want to have taxpayers on it, people without children in the district, real community members, because if we don't have the people who don't necessarily agree with the capital project, we don't know how we can improve it to get people on board. So in the last meeting, we had somebody who voted no, and it was fantastic.
It was.
He was just really, we got great information from him about why he voted no, and I just want to implore everybody who, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people who voted no, to come out to the facilities, to join the mailing list and be a part of the team, so that when we put it out again, it's the people who may not have voted yes in the beginning have their voices heard. And another thing is, I do believe the district needs to work harder on getting the mailings out and to getting the information out. I would agree with all that was said. I think more mailings would have been helpful instead of one, so I do hope that our district will consider sending more. And I think it should also be in May, because people are going to go out anyway for the budget, and I think it's really important that if we want voter turnout, that we do this in May.
I like your idea about inviting those who voted no, because that is a key, and a lot of those individuals I've spoken to, and they understand the priorities that are necessary. They felt that this particular bond did not represent all that was required and necessary. There were add-ons, and
Yeah.
I think that's important. Thank you. Thank you, Sasha.
Yeah. I want to just add one piece for those people who just love Putnam Valley and are really busy. I want to speak to that community, because I know what it's like to be really, really busy and to not make the time to go vote on those days because you think that somebody else is going to just vote yes and it's going to be fine. Well, this time it didn't go that way. And I would just really love to implore people to please do whatever you can do to get your voice heard. We're not telling you how to vote. We're just asking you to please utilize your voice for the community that you live in. I think that that's really important. Again, no matter how you feel about the project, please come out and vote. And if you cannot vote that day, there is a solution that is now more widely available than ever before. All you have to do is call the district office and they will walk you through how to secure an absentee ballot. So please, please make your voice heard. And I also want to thank those people who were on the facilities committee for all of the work that they did to be able to come up with the understanding of what we needed in this project. It was 2 years of work that I think really needs to be highlighted. There was a comment that why weren't there walkthroughs to talk about what the needs were at each of the buildings, and I would like to say to the community that there were. The facilities committee went to every building and walked through each and everything item that was a possible consideration for the project, and they made decisions as a committee together to recommend to us as the school board. So I just want to say that that did happen. And again, if you would like to be a part of that work, to please join. Thank you so much. And I also want to give Jeannie Denike a shout out because she bore the brunt of a lot of the work that went on the back scene of this project. And it was not in vain. We know that we will be able to figure this out in the future. And Jeannie, we just want you to know that we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie.
My only comment, I'm a little concerned that a vote in May is 3 months away.
90 days.
We
That's
spent
it.
2 years planning, meeting with the Facilities Committee. I agree that we need to send it back to the Facilities Committee to look at the project again, make adjustments if they feel they need to, or not make adjustments, bring it back to us. But it gives, I think, a fairly short window of time in terms of getting that committee together and having meetings, because it's going to take more than one meeting.
Absolutely.
So I'm concerned about the timing. I don't want to put it past the May vote. I think it's a good time to vote when people are already coming out to vote for the school budget. This is separate from the school budget. The school budget deals with our educational program. This is a facilities project. But we're still dealing with planning on the regular budget, and now we need to also be thinking of this one. I'm just concerned about the timing.
So valid concern. Certainly the timing is very short, but I do agree that timing it with the school budget vote, which the community members know and expect is upcoming, at this point, while it ruins our timeline, right, and it'll have implications to construction timelines and completion, at least it's an opportunity to vote on a project where people are aware that the vote is coming up. I do think there's a significant amount of community members who are thinking to themselves, shoot, I should have voted. I think it's been many years since we've had any proposition or budget voted down, and I think that the sense of it's expected to pass and somebody else will vote. And that's a lot of what I've heard is like, oh, if I knew it was going to go down, I would have come out. I just expected it to pass. And I think that the opportunity to capitalize on those individuals who are now paying more attention than they were before, it makes sense. I think the committee, one, we already have a committee. To Crystal's point before, I hope more people join the committee. We have not turned away a single person from that committee. I do know there was people who were opposed to the project that were on the committee from the start, right? That's good. I mean, there's multiple perspectives and voices, and that should continue. I hope we get more people who voted no. I thought that the gentleman who came to the meeting the other night, I think he learned a lot when he was there, and I think he had information to share, and we learned a lot from him, and I thought that's the perfect scenario. But I do think the committee is engaged. I think they're motivated. They're not starting from scratch, right? The work now is really to prioritize what we've already discussed, and I have no doubt that if that's the direction the board decides to go, that committee will get the work done that needs to get done and present the project back to the board in a timely manner.
Okay, so I don't want to put this off. I want to be able to give Dr. Luff direction tonight to reconvene the facilities committee.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're all in
it's
a-
important,
we're all
but
in
we need to
agreement on
move
that.
fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 90 days is a short window, and you're absolutely right, Barbara. It's a lot to
Absolutely.
do. But I think the committee knew what the project, all the projects that were contained within that bond, they need to look at it. And again, personally, I got to stress, you do what is required to be done for maintenance and safety.
Right.
That should be the bond, and that is it on the bond. Anything else should be done in-house then. But that's up for the facilities committee to decide. We need to reconvene them. The minute the break is over, Dr. Luft, I would say that first week we're back in. Bring them back again, and then let's move forward so that the people are aware of exactly what this bond is going to be at least 2 months prior to that vote, 60 days from that vote. Our public, our community needs to know exactly what it is, what it will cost, and the projects involved. I think that's really important, to give them enough time to disseminate, to ask you questions, ask us questions, whatever. But they need that, that's why it has to move quickly. And Barbara, I also am concerned, but I think we can do it.
Oh, I know we can, but I don't want to kind of like take our time and think.
No,
it's-
no,
you know what
no,
I mean, like,
no.
I think that.
Like I said, we know what was in the bond, we know it failed. There was an outcry and it lost. We need to correct that. We need to find out what is acceptable and what's not. That's why the Facilities Committee is going to be important.
I also just want to request that a part of the planning facility work be a public relations plan. How the plan is going to be communicated to the public,
But it needs to be, yeah.
and it needs to be done differently, right? Like, different ways, as many approaches as possible, so that we've got a lot of different types of people that live in Putnam Valley, and we should be doing all that we can to reach them all. And once we've done our due diligence with that, then it's the public's responsibility to be an engaged citizen and know what's happening in our schools. But I do think that there's room for improvement there, and I also believe that writing down a plan for future projects as to how we communicate our projects is a good idea to help us in the future.
Along what time would we need to make that decision for it to be on the ballot in May?
45 days.
Yeah,
Which is what day? Do we know?
that's what I'm saying, and.
Last Terry.
Well, the biggest, complaint the community had is that they didn't have enough information. That's why, beginning tonight, we need to start saying, this is the direction we're going into. Facilities Committee is going to come back with a recommendation, we will present it. And then Crystal, you're absolutely right, the campaign needs to move forward. There should not be a single person in Putnam Valley that is not aware of the vote and what it entails. I feel very strongly about that.
Jeannie, did you get all that? We need to schedule a facilities planning committee, prepare our first mailer, and order yard signs.
By February 28th.
Next
Oh,
week.
I have more, but.
The district, I don't think the district
That's
can
that's what we have to
order
do tonight.
yard signs.
We need a lot of subcommittees and a lot of chairpersons for those subcommittees.
And although yard signs that announce the date of the vote
That's all the district would be able to
is
do.
all the district can do.
Yeah,
So we're
that's all,
looking for
that's all.
community partners that
Yeah.
that might put up
Parent
yard signs
organizations
that,
can do
April
things,
5th?
on their own, sure.
April
Any
5th.
group. Okay,
okay,
good.
all right? Clear?
Thank you,
Good.
Sari.
Thank you all.
Yeah.